In October 2022, a Chinese robotics company sat down next to Boston Dynamics and four other firms and signed a public promise. Their robots would never be turned into weapons. It was a good headline. It made investors comfortable, made regulators comfortable, made the world feel like the age of killer robots was still science fiction. 2 years later, Chinese state television aired footage that broke that promise on live broadcast. Rows of four-legged robots, the same commercial model sold on Amazon for a few $1,000s, marching through a joint military exercise between China and Cambodia, with assault rifles bolted to their backs. The company's name is Unitree, and the story of how a robot dog for hobbyists ended up on a battlefield isn't really about a broken promise. It's about a system so quiet, so bureaucratic, so perfectly legal, that the company at the center of it can honestly say it never agreed to any of this and still be telling the truth. Let's start at the beginning. Unitree was founded in 2016 by a 26-year-old engineer named Wang Xingxing, who quit his job at the drone company DJI to build something cheaper and better, affordable four-legged robots for research, entertainment, and industrial inspection. It worked. By 2023, Unitree controlled more than 60% of the entire global market for quadruped robots. Backed by investors like Sequoia China and Meituan, the company became China's answer to Boston Dynamics, except at a fraction of the price. That success is exactly why, in October 2022, Unitree joined the industry's biggest names in signing an open letter promising never to weaponize general-purpose robots, and to vet any customer who tried. On paper, it was reassuring. In practice, it left one enormous loophole. The pledge only covered what Unitree itself did. It said nothing about what happened after the robot left the factory. And in China, what happens after a commercial product leaves the factory runs through a system most of the world has never heard of, called military-civil fusion. Here's how it actually works. First, the state hands out honors. Unitree was designated a national little giant enterprise, and its home city Hangzhou named it one of its 6 little dragons, the same label given to DeepSeek. Those titles aren't symbolic. They unlock preferential tax rates, subsidized financing, and priority procurement access. Unitree's own IPO filing discloses over $10 million in tax incentives in just 9 months. Second, universities start buying. Nearly 30 Chinese universities have purchased Unitree robots over the past 5 years. By the company's own numbers, almost 3/4 of its humanoid robot revenue in 2025 came from what it calls the research and education channel. That sounds harmless until you look at who's buying. Investigators found that at least 5 of those university customers appear on US or Canadian export control lists for military-related activity, including 2 of what analysts call the 7 sons of national defense, universities built specifically to feed China's defense industry. One of them, North University of China, historically nicknamed the first school for people's ordnance, logged its Unitree purchase back in December 2022 under a single, chillingly specific label, weapons science and technology. Third, the robots start showing up where you'd least expect them, in plain sight. In 2025, a military training exercise at a vocational college in Chongqing featured Unitree machines fitted with rifles and rocket launchers. Later that year, robot dogs marched in China's largest military parade in decades, down Chang'an Avenue in Beijing, for the entire world to see on state broadcast. When journalists asked Unitree about all of this, the company gave a statement that is, technically, completely true. It said it has always been a civilian robotics company, and that any militarized modifications were made by third parties. And here's the uncomfortable part. Unitree isn't lying. Nobody at the company signed a military contract. Nobody received a classified order. The state didn't have to force anything. It simply built an environment where the most rational, most profitable path for a successful robotics company runs directly through the defense sector, without a single document ever using the word military. The clearest proof of how deep this goes came in November 2025, when China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology appointed Unitree's own founder, Wang Xingxing, vice chair of the new National Humanoid Robot Standardization Technical Committee. Sitting on that same committee, a research institute belonging to a major state defense conglomerate, several of those 7 sons of national defense universities, and 2 US-sanctioned tech giants. A man who once publicly promised never to weaponize his robots is now literally helping write the technical standards his own machines will be measured against, standards being shaped in a room full of defense contractors. By February 2026, the US Department of Defense had seen enough, formally adding Unitree to its list of Chinese military companies. And yet, just weeks later, in March 2026, Unitree filed for a $610 million public listing in Shanghai. Investigators who read the company's full 364-page prospectus found something remarkable. Not a single mention of the words defense, military, or People's Liberation Army anywhere in it. That absence is the whole story. This isn't a company hiding a secret weapons program in a locked basement. It's a system that doesn't need one, because success itself, in the right sector in the right country, quietly becomes military capability. And analysts warn Unitree isn't even unique. It's simply the most visible example of a pipeline dozens of other Chinese tech companies are running through right now, mostly without headlines, mostly without anyone watching. So the next time you see a friendly-looking robot dog doing backflips in a viral video, remember, the line between a research toy and a battlefield asset in China isn't drawn by the company that builds it. It's drawn by an entire system built to make sure that line never has to be crossed on purpose. If stories like this are the kind of tech story you actually want to understand, not just the headlines, subscribe. There's a lot more of this system left to uncover.